Hello again, nature. I can't get the word out. Nature. Hello, Nature Dog Realms. I ain't got no hot air balloons to show, but I got the hot sun to show. But I enjoyed watching your hot air balloons today. That was cool. Like I said, seeing them makes me want to get in one again, take another ride. Hello to Troy. Happy Labor Day to you as well. Thank you. Happy September. Hard to believe it's already September. Yeah, so earlier I was watching Nature Dog Realms and she was showing hot air balloons, and I was watching A Surfer. He was showing Waikiki Beach, and I just got the sun. All I got to show y'all is the sun. um, and shadows. The sun and shadows. The shadow looked like Bigfoot. Hello to the sports card ripping teacher. Are the Cubs playing today? I ain't checked the Major League Baseball schedule for today. I know the Astros played earlier. I watched them win. They just won 7-6 in extras. All right, go Cubs, go. Unless you're playing the Astros, then it's no Cubs, no. Hopefully they'll get back into the race for the division lead. They put a dent in it, I think. I wonder where I wonder where that phrase come from. Nature Dog Realms, neck of the woods. Which where I live, it's not the neck of the woods; it's the red neck of the woods. We're in the red neck of the woods. I don't know if y'all have been experiencing a lot of dragonflies in your area, but I ain't never seen so many dragonflies like the last few weeks here. Cubs are 6 back. All right, I appreciate you stopping by, teacher. You have a great uh, Labor Day remainder. Hello to Hugo, Signs of the Pastime. Hope you're doing well. All right, here's a question for the three people that are up in here. What's the last song you heard? That's the question. What is the last song you heard? All right, I'm gonna share my last song I just heard before I went out walking was walking out, and the song that was on the satellite was Lean on Me. Such a great song. I wanted to hang around and listen to all of it, but I've heard it a lot of times, but I was ready to go walking. But that's a great song, Lean on Me, because we all need to lean on each other, because we all go through times when we're not strong. Come Jesus Come, that's a great song. What version? Who was singing it? Cindy. I appreciate you stopping by, Cindy. Cindy's checking in all the way from Alaska. So hello to Alaska. Freezing up a little. I'm not freezing up a little. It's 85 degrees. But I know what you meant. James Taylor, Fire and Rain. All right. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Hello to the Bud Files. I seen where you dropped a video recently, Signs of the Pastime, but I haven't checked it out. I need to do that. I like watching your videos. All right, so most everybody knows today is Labor Day, but like a lot of times I'll check in to see whose birthday is today, and I'll check in to see what kind of, like, today is National such and such day. So today I came across this, that today, September the 1st, is National Forgiveness Day. And I didn't know that. So because I didn't know that, I think we need to, publicize that more, Kind of like our national holidays that, probably when they first got started, not too many people knew about it, but, the more it got advertised, talked about, the bigger it became. Stephen McWhirter. I don't guess I've ever heard of him. I've heard of CC Winans sing Come Jesus Come. That's a great song. Jay Thompson. I heard the Cubs just won, Jay, in extra innings. So congratulations to the Cubs, all the Cubs fans out there, such as Jay Thompson. Todd is singing. I didn't say you had to sing it, Todd. I just asked, what song was the last song you heard. So you're trying to make me sing it because I can't hear you, but you can hear me, and you're putting the lyrics out there. And usually when I read lyrics, I start singing them, but I don't resist the temptation. Out of respect for James Taylor. Hello to Jeff. Hope you're doing well. Who's the Sewers? You talking about the Brewers? I'm not sure about the Brewers. I haven't kept up with any baseball today except for the Astros. And the sports car ripping teacher was just in here, and he told me that the Cubs won in extra innings, and that's the only way I knew about that. But all I know is the Astros beat the Angels today. Jeff says he has his fantasy football draft in 28 minutes. I'm already entered in two. I've never done fantasy football. This is the first time I'm going to do it. I've already entered two different leagues. I can't even remember hardly any of the players that I got. Didn't have the drafts. Yeah, I do fantasy baseball a lot of years, not every year, but most years. Done fantasy baseball a lot of times, but I've never done any other sport. But this will be my first year for doing fantasy football. What's the temperature where everybody else is? It's 80. It's around 85 degrees here. But there's a lot of 70 degrees. That's cool. That's a good temperature there. There's a lot of verses that deal with forgiveness, but I just wrote down one since today is National Forgiveness Day. Oh, I love that song, Nature Dog. I almost played that at my brother's funeral, but I didn't. But it's a great song. Makes me cry a lot. 54, wow. The lowest it's got lately around here is in the 60s, high 60s, so 50s sounds even better. 80 degrees where Hugo is. And Cindy is 56 and rainy in Alaska. But there's a lot of verses that deal with forgiveness in the Bible, but I just wrote down one, Colossians 3:13. 3:13 spelled backwards is 3:13. Y'all know I like my palindromes, but it says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. You know, so we've been called to forgive one another. We've been called to get forgiveness, and we've been called to give forgiveness. And you know, there's a lot of grudges in this world, and I figure if we talked about it more, hopefully people will stop the grudges. You know, drop the grudges and work toward some of those R words I was talking about, reconciliation, stuff like that. You know, if they can patch a hole in the road, we can patch up our disagreements as well, right? I did bring some more Bible trivia. I figured I could ask some questions as I walked along, give me something to do. I didn't really, sometimes I kind of have a theme or thing I focus on talking about, but I mean, I guess I am talking about forgiveness, but I just wrote down the one verse. But I do believe we ought to be forgivers. I believe forgiving people ought to forgive. Hello to Richard. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm doing well, Richard. How about you? Oh, the Red Sox are only 2.5 games out. I didn't know that. I knew they were a little bit closer. I knew they were a lot closer than what they were earlier in the season. I did have them winning their division in my preseason predictions, and I was beginning to get worried for a while there because they had fallen to like 10 games back or something in that area at one time. Um, I guess my biggest disappointment has been the Braves. I'm an Astros fan, but my tied for second favorite team is the Braves and Cubs. And I called that the Astros. My preseason predictions: Astros, Cubs in the World Series. But I also had the Braves winning their division, and the Braves have really stunk it up this year. I guess they've been the biggest disappointment to me this year. I mean, pretty much my whole life, Braves always have had, competitive seasons. But yeah, injuries. But the Astros have had a lot of injuries too. I don't ever remember the Astros having this many injuries in one season, and they've worked through it, which I think is awesome. It's only 3:39 in Alaska, and Cindy is doing fine. That's great to hear. And Richard says it's 12:39 a.m. Oh, just past midnight, eh? There you go, putting the song lyrics in the chat. I'm trying not to sing. Singing takes away some of my breath when I'm walking, and I don't want to. I'm walking a little bit farther today than I normally do, so I'm trying to save some of my breath. Yeah, me too. My camera's not that good. That was a cool looking butterfly though. Yeah, forgiving is not easy, that's for sure. But that like that verse I read though, surely if Jesus can forgive us, we can. It's something that we can't do in our own strength is to forgive other people, but with His help, we can do it. All we have to do is look to His example. Say, if He can forgive me for what I've done, and if He can forgive others for what they've done, I can forgive others for what they've done. Forgiving don't make the wrong right, but forgiving does make it. Forgiving is the right thing to do always. But never does God say that forgiving is easy. Mint Chocolate Chip says I'm bad with song lyrics. Hello to Hodges. Appreciate the like. Hope you're doing well. Happy Labor Day 2025 edition. Happy September. Hard to believe it's September already. Yeah, like just one word to set me off in the song lyrics. Like Nature Dog Realms was showing the hot air balloons this morning, and she had said something about people in her family were skydivers. She mentioned skydiving. So if I hear the word skydiving, I instantly start singing a Tim McGraw song. I went sky. No, I can't sing. I'm going to save my breath. Yeah, that's the major point there, Cindy. You're right. If we don't forgive others, Jesus won't forgive us. And that's the major thing that ought to drive us to forgive others. because we all need forgiveness from Jesus. And if he says he won't give it to us if we don't give it to others, that's so important. Nobody really says we. Hello again to nobody really. Hope you're doing well. Hey, there's Nature Dog Realms. I was just talking about you and your lack of skydiving. Hello to Biz. I didn't see you in here, but I seen Richard waving at you. Sun is beating in my eyes, so I can't see the chat good. But good to see you, Biz. Hope you're doing well. My neighbor to the north, which most everybody's my neighbor to my north. Unless you're in Florida. If you're in Florida, you're my neighbor to the south, but most everybody else is my neighbor to the north. All right, Biz, I asked people earlier, and I'll ask you as well, since you dropped the little musical notes. What was the last song that you heard? That's been my question for the chat today. The last song that you heard. When I walked out before I went walking, the great song Lean On Me was playing, and I love that song. Hello to California Dreaming. Now see, the name California Dreaming just set me off in my mind, but I'm not going to sing. I'm saving my breath for walking. But I guess I'll just speak some words. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. Shakira. As I'm walking, I smell a lot of people grilling some hamburgers, and I want to like go around to each place and say, "Hey, cousin, you got a hamburger for me?" Ty, Ty says my wife threatened to leave me because I wouldn't stop singing "I'm a Believer." I thought she was joking. Then I saw her face. That's a good one. No doubt in my mind, I'm in love. Hey, I can't sing. I'm walking. I need to save my breath. The cicadas are starting to sing. John Cicada. I need to learn me some more John Cicada songs because I refer to him all the time when I hear cicadas, but really the only John Cicada song I remember from my youth is Just Another Day. You don't hear John? John and his whole choir is singing. Oh yeah, that one sounds familiar. I would say it's just like any other place. I mean, every state has something a little bit different, but pretty much everywhere you go, there's good and bad in everyone, like the song says. What song is that? There's good and bad in everyone. Vampire Weekend, never heard of it. Is that like when Dracula? That's what Dracula works for. Every vampire's working for the weekend. Everybody do your best vampire impression. Which ain't fair, I can't hear y'all, but I want to bite your neck. They are a band. I've never heard of them. Vampire Weekend. Beulah Battery. Uh, I'm not sure exactly how far I am, Todd, but it's at least 100 miles south of me. I used to like to go to Mobile. Uh, Mobile has a double, or used to, they don't have it anymore, but they used to have a double A baseball team, the Mobile Bay Bears. I used to like to go to Mobile and watch them play. And they also had a minor league hockey team in Mobile, and I like to go watch them as well. But they don't have either one now. Which is what's really strange to me is like if you look at like the Hall of Fames of sports, a lot of the sports, I mean not like hockey of course, but like especially football and baseball, a lot of the Hall of Famers are from Alabama originally. But as far as professional sports teams, we don't have them. Nothing major. I mean, we got like I said, the minors, but a lot of the minors don't even last. Yeah, I went to the USS Alabama, but I was a kid. I haven't been since I was a teenager. I don't really know the reason. I know, like in Mobile, Mobile is a very popular, I mean, populated city, but they didn't support the teams too well over time. Who's your number one draft pick going to be? Calvin, you got a Jeff, you got a plan for the your number one pick? Hello to Paulzilla. My day is going well. How about yours? Productive day. All right. All right. Enjoy your draft. Jeff's first pick in fantasy football. Pasta. Hello to Carissa. I hope you're doing well today. Happy Monday. Happy September. Yeah, I know. I'm a Bruins fan too, so I know who Pasta is. All right, so currently I'm at the halfway point of my walking, so I'm taking this is like halftime of my walk. I'm regathering my breath. You know, I haven't been singing too much as usual, so I've been trying to save my breath for the rest of the walk. But while I'm regathering my breath, I'm going to ask some trivia questions. Uh, if anybody's interested, chime in. And I know I know Cindy done good the last time. She came in like right when she came in the door. She answered a question. So question number one: who did Isaac bless instead of Esau? There's Cash and Dad. Hey, Cash and Dad, I appreciate you stopping by. And I need for the Mariners to lose tonight because the Astros won today. And I would like for the Astros to pad their lead because we're getting close to the end of the season. And I'm getting a little nervous. So I need the Mariners to lose tonight. So if you could help me. We only have a 2-game lead, so I need the Mariners to lose tonight. It's too late. I already said it. Hey, y'all can still win the wild card, you know, but I need y'all to get away from the division lead. Who did Isaac bless instead of Esau? Trivia question number 1. So Cindy said Jacob. Dad said Jacob. And the answer is Jacob. Good job, guys. Genesis chapter 27, verses 21 through 23 talks about Isaac blessing Jacob instead of Esau. Yeah, I'm ready for some pro football. Not anybody's really giving the Saints a chance this year, but I'm always optimistic. So, every year I say the Saints are going to win the Super Bowl. And out of my long career, my history of predicting that, I've only been right once. But at least they did win it once. There's some teams that can't say that. Yeah, you're right, Cash and Dad. A little trickery going on. Hey, I'm sorry, Todd. But I have a feeling that the Eagles are going to slaughter the Cowboys. That's just my feeling. I could be wrong on that one as well. All right, my second question. Which 2 disciples did Jesus send to prepare the Last Supper? So Jesus sent 2 of his disciples to prepare the Last Supper. Who were they? Yeah, I've seen a lot of preseason predictions where they got the Cowboys in last place, but they also have my Saints in last place on a lot of the predictions. Cash and Dad says Peter and John right, ? And that is right. So you're 2 for 2, Cash and Dad. So there's 6 questions. Y'all are 2 for 2. Cindy got it right as well. Peter and John. That's in Luke chapter 22, verse 8. The third question is, what was the Jewish day of rest called? What was the Jewish day of rest called? Yep, we got 3 right answers, I see. Good job, Carissa, Cash and Dad, Cindy. It's definitely the Sabbath, or like, who else? Who said Shabbat? Yeah, that's right. Carissa said Shabbat. Yeah, I was wondering how you felt about that trade, Ty. So you timed in my forgiveness speech with that. All right, y'all, 3 for 3. We got 3 more to go, halfway there. That was found in Exodus chapter 20, verse 10. That's where you can find the 10 Commandments, Exodus chapter 20. Into what did Jesus say the money changers had made his house? Into what did Jesus say the money changers had made his house? All right, Paul Zilla, I appreciate you stopping by. Have a great remainder. We got two answers that say den of thieves. And I love this. All right, y'all know IHOP, right? IHOP, IHOP. IHOP stands for the International House of Pancakes, right? I've been to them a few times, not a lot, but I liked it when I did go. But in the Bible, Jesus calls the house of God the International House of Prayer. That's what it's designed for. But the people had made it a den of thieves, and y'all are right. The den of thieves or den of robbers. Matthew chapter 21, verse 13. They were misusing the house of God, and that still gets done today. But hopefully, wherever you go, wherever you attend, that's not the case. But it does happen. But one of the main purposes to assemble together is to pray. International House of Prayer. It's for all people to pray, to talk to God. But y'all are 4 for 4. So we 2/3 of the way there. Y'all got a perfect score. I was just talking about Waffle House, Todd, to somebody. I think it was Waffle House. They the Julio Jones, the wide receiver. He went to Alabama, but he went to high school also in Alabama. But when he was in high school, they called him Waffle House. Why did they call him Waffle House? Because he was always open. All right, I got 2 more questions. How old was Jairus' daughter? How old was Jairus' daughter when she became ill? How old was Jairus' daughter when she became ill? And I love that story. I mean, I don't love that she was ill, his daughter, but I love the story of what happened. Hello to Crooked Peach. I appreciate you stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Happy Monday. September 1st, 2025 edition. Happy Labor Day. Uh-oh, I done stumped Cash and Dad with this one. Well, hey, it's a number question. You can throw numbers out there. I mean, I'd rather you know the answer, but if you don't know it, at least, throw a guess out there. There's no penalty for guessing. How old was Jairus' daughter when she became ill? Cindy says she's stumped as well. All right, I'm going to give Todd credit for that. She was 12 years old. That's one of my favorite stories in the Bible. And hey, I'll share this with Carissa in mind if she's still here. All right, because at the same time, I think this is in the book of Luke, but at the same time, Jesus Jesus is traveling like he does by foot, just like I am now. He traveled by foot, you know. And he was walking around and great crowds was following him. And there was a woman that had an issue of blood. You know, she had a disease dealing with blood. And we know blood, our life is in our blood. And she had an issue with, she had some kind of blood issue. So, when you have blood issues, it takes away from your life. Your blood adds to your life. So she had an issue of blood for 12 years, the Bible said. She had a problem that she had been dying for 12 years. She had been losing blood constantly for 12 years. And the Bible talks about she spent everything she had trying to get better, but the Bible says she actually got worse. So she spent everything to the doctors. Spent all that she had going to going to the doctors for 12 years. But then she touched the hem of Jesus' garment, by faith. And he healed her instantly. So she went from dying for 12 years to living because of touching the hem of Jesus' garment, the faith there. She didn't put her faith, she was putting her faith in the money and that wasn't working out. But she put her faith in Jesus and he healed her. And then during that same walk, that same turn of events, that's when Jairus comes up to Jesus and tells Jesus about his daughter. But this woman had been dying for 12 years, but Jairus' daughter had been living for 12 years. She was 12 years old, so she had been living for 12 years, but she got sick like instantly and died. So that's from one extreme to another. You got one person that was dying for 12 years and lived, and then you got one that was living for 12 years and died. And Jesus made a difference in both of their lives, from one extreme to the other. But both stories dealt with faith. And I love, that's why I love that story. It's about faith, and I'm a big fan of faith. Oh, you like that story too, Ty? That's cool. But 12 is the right answer. That's in Luke chapter 8, verse 42. But I love the story of the woman, the issue of blood, because there was a time when Jesus's mom and Jesus's siblings wanted to get to where Jesus was, but they couldn't get to him because of the crowd. The crowd kept them from getting to where Jesus was. But then there's this woman that has an issue of blood, and there was a crowd between her and Jesus. But she worked her way through the crowd, but she was determined to get to Jesus because she was desperate for healing, and he gave it to her. And I love that story about that. If y'all listen to me, I love stories about not giving up. And the woman that had the issue of the blood is one of the greatest stories about not giving up. All right, last question. This is number 6. Whose sufferings does David describe in Psalms chapter 22? Whose sufferings does David describe in Psalms chapter 22? Can anybody hear John Cicada singing? Whose sufferings does David describe in Psalms 22? I mean, y'all were kinda right. I mean, David was talking about his own, but really it's also a prophecy. Because the very first verse, Psalms 22 verse 1. Well, Cash just said it. He says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? You know, if you read the New Testament, you know, it was prophesied there in Psalms 22, but it happened in the New Testament. So it wasn't David. I mean, it was David. He was talking at that time. But somebody else also said it in the New Testament. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? It's in Matthew chapter 27, verse 46, if anybody's got a Bible nearby. But yeah, that's right, Todd. It was the Messiah. He was talking about the Messiah, who is Jesus. Jesus said that. One of the sayings from the cross of Jesus, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Found in Matthew chapter 27, verse 46. So y'all pretty much, everybody remember what I said, the song I heard before I left out to go walking was Lean on Me? And y'all all kind of leaned on each other and everybody worked together to get all the answers right. So good job. Teamwork, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, they're singing. Them cicadas are singing. All right, so my main topic today is Labor Day, but also today is National Forgiveness Day. So just trying to encourage anybody to not have grudges against other people, but to forgive one another. That's another thing we can, you know, do in teamwork. Uh, Work together instead of working against each other. Aries World, you're not the only one with cicadas. John Cicada, he's all over the place. Yeah, I seen that, Todd. That's one of the ones I saw as well. National Pastor Spouse Day. All right, Cash and Dad, I appreciate you stopping by. And like I said, I need the Mariners to lose tonight, so don't cheer too hard tonight. What is your preseason prediction on what the Seahawks are going to do? You got a preseason record prediction for the Seahawks? Inquiring mind wants to know. Have y'all ever read about the cicadas? Yeah, that is a good. Well, it's just like National Forgiveness Day. You know, if we don't talk about it, not many people know about it. In the same way with what you said, Todd, about your National Pastor Spouse Day, because I know, I think is it this month? It's usually Pastor's Appreciation Day, but they have a Pastor's Appreciation Day that's probably more popular than the spouses, but they're just as important as well. Yeah, I haven't read about them in a while, but if my memory serves me correct, I read about them, and I know probably different people say different things, but if I remember right, somehow 23 ties in because 23 is my favorite number. But if I remember right, they stay underground for like 23 years in complete darkness. They live underground for 23 years. They come to the top and they mate, you know, and then they die. It's like they come to the top and they mate, they bust out of their shells, that they leave the shells laying around, and then they die. And kind of a weird story. But my granddad on my mom's side, he loved to laugh probably more than anybody, and I love to laugh. But he was a big laugher. He would like throw his head back and just let out the biggest laugh. He was pretty much known for his laugh, but he died when I was in high school. But one of the things I remember about him in my youth is he would used to take this little cicada shells that they leave behind, the little brown shell, and the ends of their feet are like real pointy. And he would take it and like put it on the end of his nose, kind of like a clown's nose, how it sticks to your nose, and do that with a cicada shell. And I used to think that was so funny when I was a kid. So, as time went on, used to do the same thing. What kind of bread are you making, Cindy? Sounds good. But I appreciate you stopping by, Cindy. That's 2 nights in a row. And I did think about it, like when I bring my state book with me, I always thought about, man, nobody from Alaska ever pops into my chats. And then there was Cindy yesterday, back again today. So I appreciate you stopping by. It means a lot. Enjoy talking to people from around the world. Just white bread, that's good. I'm not prejudiced. But enjoy making your bread. And like I said, thank you for stopping by. Nice to meet you. Stay warm in Alaska. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, Ty, that your daughter done that. Went from needing help, to giving help, and that's pretty much the way it should be for all of us. One of the Bible verses that comes to mind when you said that, another story that I like in the Bible is Peter. Peter had a mother-in-law and she had a high fever. She was burning up with fever. So, by her having fever, that limited her in serving her guests. But as soon as Jesus touched her and removed the fever, she went back to serving, and I thought about that we've all been touched by God, and then we should turn around and, help others. We've been helped so that we might help others. Yeah, 56 is warm for me too. Um, I like the 40-degree weather. It's kind of like my favorite range, something in the 40s. But 56 sounds awesome. It's in the 80s here. I'm trying to remember who all's birthdays I seen that it was today. Usually when I go walking, I'll bring somebody, that today's their birthday with me. Like yesterday, I done Debbie Gibson, but today I didn't come across anybody. I mean, I came across a lot of people that I was familiar with, but I didn't have like a card or something I could bring with me, like a tape or a picture or something. Yeah, Todd, y'all in Texas, y'all need to invest in some trees, like some shady trees. I haven't been to Texas a lot, but the times I did, it was like super hot, and I couldn't find, enough shady trees. Back in my day, we didn't have air conditioner. We went outside and got under the shady tree. I've been hearing acorns fall from the trees, so y'all know what that means. We're in the month of September. Almost time for another season. How would y'all rank your seasons, like from 1 to 4? What would be your favorite season, and then what would be your worst? I sometimes have a hard time coming up with a 1 through 4 when it comes to seasons because they all, have beauty within all of them, and they're all for a purpose and reason. So they're all good. But as far as me having a favorite, name the band. All right, go for it, Ty. Although I can't think too clearly when I've been walking a lot, it kind of takes away. It's a drain on the brain when I'm walking. So, but I'll give it my best because I feel I've got to move. Though I'm going. I'll be coming home soon, long as I can see the light. Can I phone a friend? I feel I've got to move. Can you hum a few bars? Man, I'm drawing a blank. Can y'all hear the frogs? Man, I wish I could spot a frog like yeah, that's what I was fixing to say, Aries. I wish I could spot a frog like Aries does. I hear them all the time, but I ain't seen one that big around in a long time. They're out there, but that was fun to watch when you caught the frog. That was some must see TV. If I wasn't out of breath, I'd sing Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Ty's dropping hints now. So be honest, Aries. Like after the filming was over, you went and like you took him to a restaurant and they like weighed him up by the pound, and you got paid like a certain sum because that was a big frog. All right, Todd, I'm gonna put you on the spot now. I'm staring at the moon, or we're staring at the moon. How many songs can you name that have moon in the title? All right, you can even, I guess, throw in songs that have moon in the lyrics as well, but mostly I would say moon in the title. So you saw Bad Moon Rising. I had a feeling that was coming. There's a bathroom on the right. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so there's no bathroom on the right. There's Larry sings. See, Larry heard us talking about songs, so he busted up in here. Hello to Larry. Larry, you can join in. We're looking at the moon. I know my phone don't do it justice, but that's what it is. That is the moon that we're looking at. So throw out some songs that either have moon in the title or in the lyrics. Todd's already threw one out, Bad Moon Rising. There you go. Larry done got an Elvis song. Larry done threw out an Elvis song. Blue Moon of Kentucky. That's funny that you mentioned Van Morrison. Yesterday was his birthday. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But not only was yesterday Debbie Gibson's birthday, but yesterday was also Van Morrison's birthday. I want to say he's 80. He turned 80 yesterday. Do you remember when we used to sing sha la 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 ti da a la ti da? That's cool, Ty. And her name was pronounced Deborah. Am I right? I was trying to figure out what you were saying last night. She took the moon over Georgia. I don't. That's not ringing the bell. I know when the lights went out in Georgia. That's the night that the lights went out in Georgia. With Shenandoah. Good group. Something big just buzzed by my ear. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Hello to the Aries World girls. I brought a light, Todd, but I didn't bring the light that you're referring to. I'm bad again. Shame on me. Hello to Ava's boyfriend. Hello to Chanel Heath. My evening's going well. How about yours? Appreciate you stopping by. Happy Monday, September 1st, 2025 edition. Hard to believe that September is already here. Getting close to fall. Temperatures are starting to fall and fall. Leaves are starting to fall and fall. Acorns are starting to fall and fall. Why do they call it fall? Probably for the same reasons. But although I've never researched that, but I'm guessing they call it fall because a lot of stuff falls. Listening to a prayer. That's cool. Who's your favorite singer of all time, Larry? And does anybody else have a favorite singer of all time? Larry says Waylon Jennings. Who's this geezer you're referring to, Todd? You talking about me? Geezer is such a fun word. The bats are out. Oh, okay. You're talking about a different geezer. That's good. Yeah, the world we're living in is way too negative for sure. Yeah, the moon is cool. I haven't done it in a long time, but when I was a kid, I had a telescope, and I used to love just. We had an old car, and I would set the telescope had like a tripod, and would set the legs on the car and point it up to the moon. And as a kid, would just enjoy looking at the craters on the moon, looking at different stars. Um, just a lot of memories there. Yeah, I've been to Hank Williams's grave. It's in Montgomery, Alabama. He wrote some good gospel songs. His story is sad, but I can't judge him. I don't know, but he wrote some. I Saw the Light. I love that song. He wrote several other great gospel songs, among country songs too. But I got a picture of me and my brother standing at his grave in Montgomery. Um, his son, Hank Williams Jr., he signs autographs through the mail. I've got his autograph before. He lives in Tennessee. Oh, that's cool, Ty. Yeah, our local Goodwill shut down a long time ago. I hate it did. I love going to like Goodwill and thrift stores. We just don't have those around here. If I ever go to some, I have to travel a pretty good piece. But that's right up my alley. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah, Chanel, I love creation. Always amazed by God's creation. God's the best artist. I went when I was younger. Ty, I used to have some relatives that was in it. They may still be. I'm not even sure. But yeah, I like racing, but it's not one of my. I guess well, it's definitely not one of my highest stuff on my list of sports. But I do like it. Ain't as much traffic on the road as usual now. Um, I guess everybody done got full on their hamburgers off the grill and got full and taking a nap. Bradbury Racing. I don't guess I've ever heard of them. I had to look them up. Yeah, that happens. That God will call you away from one thing to another. I kind of think of the first four uh, disciples that Jesus called, Peter, Andrew, talked about them last night, and then James and John, two sets of brothers, Peter, James, and John. All four of them were fishermen. You know, they were professional fishermen. That was their career. That's all they had ever done, fishermen. And then Jesus calls them to drop their nets, stop what they're doing, and start following Him. Said He was going to make them fishers of men. I guess that's kind of like what you're talking about. You know, but they went from fishing for fish to fishing for men because of the calling. Yeah, that was the first Bible. I've memorized a lot of different Bible verses through the years, but the first one I ever memorized was Matthew 4:19. Jesus says, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." That was the first one I ever memorized, and then I think Psalms 23 was my second. But you know, fishing for Fishing for fish is important. You know, that'll sustain you here. But fishing for men is an eternal thing. Something we all have to do, ask ourselves, you know, what's more important. Hello to Angela Critters. Hello, Foothills of Appalachia. Hope everybody's had a great Monday, September the 1st, 2025 edition, Labor Day. Or as I've recently discovered, today is National Forgiveness Day. So that's what I started on this walk, talking about the importance. We was talking about positivity and negativity. You know, one of the most negative things you can do is hold grudges against people. One of the most positive things you can do is forgive somebody, and we're called to be forgiven, and we're called to forgive. And so I was sharing that because I don't think it's a lot of people know about today being National Forgiveness Day, which is a biblical topic that we need to talk about. The importance of needing to get forgiveness and the importance of needing to forgive. Yeah, one of my favorite quotes, and it's attributed to Mark Twain, the famous writer. But I love it. He says, Forgiveness is the fragrance that the flower left on the heel of the one who crushed it." That's stuck ever since I read that quote. It's stuck with me because that's beautiful. That forgiveness is the fragrance, you know, the smell that gets left on the heel of the one who crushed it. And that's a picture of Jesus. You know, we all, because of our sins, crushed Jesus on the cross. But he left a sweet smell called forgiveness for all to enjoy. The smell of grace, kindness. Even though we hurled negativity, talking about negativity and positivity, all of us have hurled negativity toward Jesus at some point in our lives called sin. You know, we've done something against his word. But his response to that, the positivity of forgiveness. And if he can do that to me and he can do that to you, and the Bible talks about he died for the sins of the world. Now, he died for everybody. Not everybody accepts it, but he done his part to forgive everybody. It's just up to everybody to do their part to accept the forgiveness. But he left a sweet sin, even though we placed a horrible sin on him called sin. You know, he let out a sweet sin of forgiveness, of grace, of mercy, of love. And if he can do that to us, we have no excuse not to do it to one another. Todd's still singing. I love it. I'm not going to sing it, Todd. I'm trying to save my breath. I'm running out of breath here. I'm climbing a hill in the dark. I need my energy. But I hope everybody's had a great day. Hopefully you've got to enjoy time with family, reflecting on the blessings of life today. Counting your blessings today. We're all blessed. Another positive thing that we can all do is count our blessings. Count our many blessings, not just one, but many. Really, you can't count the amount of that you're blessed. But you can try. I can try. Simon and Garfunkel. What kind of name is Garfunkel, you know? If your last name is Garfunkel, I'm sorry. I'm not making fun of you. It's just an interesting name. Google says that Garfunkel is a Yiddish name. Interesting. I don't guess oh well, now that I think about it, El, I know in Hebrew means God, so I can see that now. So it's something saying something about God. El means God. Excuse me. Well, that's cool, Ty. But I'm almost out of breath. I haven't been talking much lately anyhow, so uh, and it's dark. Not much to see here. But I appreciate everybody that's stopped by today. It means a lot just talking to people from around the world and just reminding people that we're going through this life together. Just want to remind you to keep on keeping on. Don't give up. Today's message: don't hold grudges against people, but forgive people just as you've been forgiven. And I just want to remind everybody. Hello to Norma Raymond. Appreciate you stopping by, winding it down here. But I want to remind everybody that I love everybody, and I don't hate anybody. And it's all because of somebody who died for me. But good night. God bless y'all. And I hope you have a great Monday remainder. And if you're already over into Tuesday, some people are. Hope you have a great Tuesday. But I hope to see you again somewhere down the road. Enjoy fellowshipping, like I said, with people from around the world. We all got something in common. You know, not everything, but you can always find something that you have in common with somebody else. And it's just enjoyable to me to learn more about you. And my prayer is that we'll all get to learn more about God as we go through this life because He is a good guy. He's a good father. But good night. God bless. And take care.